So hello and welcome to this video tutorial on how to create a daisy granny square. So what you're going to need is 3 different colored yarns. I've got silver, a white and a peach color, which I'm going to be working with today. And we are going to make a granny square like this. It's called a daisy granny square. Now you've all been given enough yarn to create 18 of these granny squares made up of the peach coloured centre, white flower and the grey silvery coloured edges, or up to 6 of this colour scheme if you want to make your bag out of 6 of these and the remaining squares made in this color scheme. Right, so to start off, I'm going to be using my grey color to make the center of the flower, which is made up of a magic loop that you create by setting up your tension as you've been all shown before, and creating a slip knot. You should all know how to do that by now. So once you've got your slip knot, you start by chaining 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you've got your chain 4, you need to identify the back loop of your first stitch. So these are the front part of my stitches. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you turn your work around, these little humps on the back are the back loops. So I'm going to go into this first back loop of my stitch and put my hook through there and grab my yarn and pull through both loops on my hook, which will create this little circle, our magic circle that we are going to be crocheting into. Now to start working into your magic circle, you need to chain 3, and this chain 3 is going to count as your first double crochet stitch. We are going to need to put 12 double crochets, including this first chain 3, into this central circle. So you're going to keep putting double crochets into this central stitch in the middle of your magic circle. So you need 12 altogether. This first chain 3 space counts as the first one, so you need 11 more double crochets. So to create those, you yarn over once, go into your center, the center of your magic circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you do that 10 more times. I'm also gonna aim to work my tail ending. As I'm coming around, I will be holding that to the outer edge of the magic circle and sort of working over that to be able to work that in as I go along. So I yarn over, go into that center, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So I've got 3 now, and I need 12 altogether. So you go ahead and create 12 double crochets into the center of your magic circle. You don't have to work the ending. If you find that tricky to hold that as you're working in the round, you can leave that hanging and then deal with it once you've done your whole granny square. But I like to work the ends in as I go along because I don't really enjoy that part of it really. So I deal with it as I go along, so I don't have that many tail ends hanging out at the end to work in. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need 3 more. 2, 3 double crochets. Okay, so I've got 12 double crochets that I have worked into the center of my magic circle. And to make sure that you've got 12, always count at the end. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can count them by counting these little posts here, or counting the little V's on the top as they go around. It looks a bit like a snail at this point, going around. Now we need to join our last double crochet to this chain 3 space that we've created at the beginning. So you need to identify the top of those chain 3 spaces. I normally crochet into the first double crochet stitch, so that will be the fourth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I pick up the front and the back loop. You can see both of them, front and back loop of that V. Go through that with my hook, yarn over, pull through and pull through the loop on my hook as well to create that join. Now I go ahead and cut my yarn because I'm not going to need the silver yarn now, and I grab the tail end of that yarn and pull it through that last loop on the hook and pull that tight to secure. Now, as you can see on the back, I worked the tail end of my yarn as I began my magic circle in as I went along, so I can go ahead and cut that little bit off, and it's now out the way and it's worked in. So I've got 12 double crochet stitches that I've crocheted around the magic circle, which then in turn create the central circle, the flower, the central part of the flower, if you like, of your granny square. Now to create the petals, which is going to be the next round, you need to join your next color yarn, the color of your choice. For us, it's going to be the white yarn. So again, I set up my tension, and as I mentioned in the workshop, I like to work into a couple of stitches back from the last stitch where I've finished off and joined up my magic circle. So I count a couple of stitches back, 1, 2, and perhaps work into that. It doesn't really matter which stitch you start off with. I just find this easier because it is always a little bit trickier to identify the top of that stitch. It's a little bit smaller because you've got that little knot there in the way. So I find it easier to just join my yarn somewhere else. So to join your yarn, you basically hold the tail end to the back of your work, put your hook through that front and back loop of your chosen stitch, pick up your new color and pull through. Keep holding that tail end until it's secure, because it does have the tendency to slip and come away. So now we need to create 12 petals, and doing that will involve us creating 12 treble crochet clusters. So go ahead and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I pull the tail end tight and put it on top of my work so I can work that in as I start crocheting around these stitches. So we're working into the top of the double crochet stitches that you created into your magic circle. So to create our first treble crochet cluster, this chain 4 space will count as your first treble crochet, so you need to make 2 more treble crochets into that same stitch. So I go ahead, yarn over twice, put my hook through the same stitch where my chain 4 is, where I created my chain 4. I put my hook through, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, and I do not finish that treble crochet off. As you can see, there are 2 loops left on my hook. I'm not going to finish that now, because to create the cluster, to create these teardrop shapes for your flower petals, you need to work your treble crochets off your hook in one go once you've got all 3 on your hook. So I've got 2 now. I need to go ahead and create a third one, so I yarn over twice, put my hook back into the same, exactly the same stitch as before, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 and stop. I have now got my 3 treble crochets, which is made up of 2 trebles in this instance and the chain 4 that we created at the beginning. Now I can finish off my first petal by yarning over and pulling through all 3 of those. Now in between each petal, it's really important that you put a chain 2 space, because as you can see on this granny square, you've got these spaces between your petals. This is what's gonna keep your petals a little bit apart, and this is what is going to allow us to crochet our next round into these spaces. So you need to chain 2 between each petal, 1, 2. And crochet is quite logical really, because if you think about it, what you also need is more room as you go around, because the perimeter of your flower is becoming bigger. Down here on our first circle, it's much smaller than what we are working on now. So those chain 2 spaces in between your petals are gonna allow for the extra space. So it's kind of multifunctional. So to create my next petal, I am going to repeat the process by yarning over twice, going into the top stitch, top of the next double crochet stitch from the row below, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 and stop. And I need 2 more of these treble crochets to start forming. So I go ahead and put 2 more into that same stitch that I worked into before. Now you can see I've got my 3 treble crochets that I began to work on, but I have not finished them off, because as I said before, you need to finish them off all together by yarning over and pulling through all 4 loops on your hook. Okay, so we've got 2 petals now. You need to go ahead and create a petal into each of these stitches around, so you should end up with 12 petals with a chain 2 space in between each of those petals. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you at the end where I will show you how to join them up. So I've got my 3 trebles, and I work it off by joining them all together to create that cluster. Chain 2, and I start working on my next petal. And as you can see, as I'm going along, I'm working in the tail end as well from my previous color, which in this instance is silvery grey. as I said before, it's really important that you chain 2 between each petal. So please don't forget that. So that is my 11th petal, and I'm just working it off by joining those 3 treble crochets together, and I'll chain 2. And one last time I'll show you how to make a petal. So you put a treble crochet cluster into the top of that double crochet from the round below by yarning over twice, inserting your hook into the next stitch, pull through 2, and stop. Then yarn over twice, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and stop. Yarn over twice, insert your hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and stop. You've got your 3 treble crochets on your hook, and you've got that last little loop on your, so you've got 4 loops on your hook altogether. One is from the chain 2 space that you've created there, and the last 3 are from the 3 treble crochets that you've started creating. So you need to finish that off by joining them all together. So you yarn over or pull through all 4. Now here you've arrived at the chain 4 that you've created as part of your first petal. So you need to join your petals together. It's worth counting them at this point to make sure that you've got 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 petals. So I've got 12 petals here. So you need to put a chain 2 space in between your last one that you've just made and the first one as well. So I go ahead and chain 2. And now I identify the top stitch of my chain 4 space. I think it's the 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th stitch, and I put my hook in there, pull up a loop and pull through that loop on my hook as well. And at this point you can cut your yarn because we are not going to work with the white colored yarn in the next round. So I've got this little tail end, and I go ahead and just secure that by pulling that through that last loop on my hook and tightening it up. And now we've got our central flower, which is the same as that on your granny square.